What's going on, everyone? I decided I'm going to do a live session right now for a little bit. I don't know if anyone's going to join. I didn't promote it at all. So, give it a few minutes while I set everything up here. All right, getting sharpened. I'm going to be working on this. Getting sharpened. I'm going to be working on this. One of these guys, tall hillbilly, got his tooth poking out on this one. So I'm just sharpen up my pencil here. All right. I always love this little pencil sharpener, little barrel sharpener. Gets it nice and sharp. All right, pencil sharp. Got my hillbilly here. Decided to give him a little tooth. I thought it would look cool. Just adjust this camera a little bit better. It's not in my way. All right, I got a couple tools here. I got my Helvey, my Badger State, a little U-gouge, and skew. Kind of just bounce around between them. Let's see, where I left off, I was working on his tooth here. Maybe I'll clean up some of these lines. All right, now we're going to get started. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything, drop them in the chat. I'd love to answer some questions. Helps kind of keep these live sessions going a little bit. This guy has started to do something different. I usually do the hands in the pockets, but this time I'm going to have them sticking out a little bit. So I guess give him a sleeve, right? Anyone out there that's watching, did you guys see the latest episode of the podcast with Robert Tinsley? I actually think he prefers to be called Bob, not Robert. I found his journey pretty fascinating, and the history of the spoons were really interesting to me. I'm not a big spoon carver, so it was interesting to learn about some of that stuff. Now I'm gonna do my best to explain what I'm doing here and there, but it's not really a tutorial live session. It's just kind of hanging out and talking about in the podcast. Um, Tomorrow I have on Bill Wolford. Bill's a really nice guy, and I really enjoyed talking to him. I find carving hands really tedious and boring. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's not my favorite. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I guess this is part of his pants. I'm waiting on a new Badger state blade. Should be here any day now, I think. So I'm looking forward to getting that and carving with it. I got a different handle. This one, I think, was their signature handle, their basic one. For me, it's a little too thin. So when I'm gripping it, it tends to get a little uncomfortable after a while. Let's see, it's telling me I have a very bad connection. They're all like characterized. You know, have arms and legs and faces and stuff. Um, I do want to do more animals. What I've been trying to do with these guys is do more of a flat plane style, but I find it pretty difficult to keep that flat plane aspect of it throughout the whole piece. Maybe I just need to practice with smaller pieces. It's saying I have a very bad connection, so I hope I didn't lose anybody. If anyone is out there, write something in the chat so I know I didn't lose you guys. Anything would be helpful. This piece of basswood has been an absolute dream to carve with. It's light, smooth, buttery. It's been really great. It's amazing how much a difference the material can make for you. It just makes it a much more enjoyable experience. Still don't know what I'm going to do with his hands yet. Just kind of removing the saw marks. A little piece right in here that's bugging the hell out of me. There we go. All right, let's see. I kind of removed all the saw marks on this side. Getting his foot cut in there. Move the saw blade, saw marks on this side. There we go. Just going around, removing little bits and pieces off, getting rid of all these saw marks. If anyone watched the latest Doug Linker video with the goose, swan, I think it's a swan, he talked about a phrase that he heard from Charles Banks, who's a flat plane carver. He referred to it as peeling the potato, which I liked. I like that term. So that's what I'm doing here, is just peeling the potato. All right, what do I do with his eyes? Let's see. That's too curved. Do I have another? Let's see if one of these will work. Maybe this one. Could do this with my knife, but what I'm doing here is just making a little stop cut all around his eyeball that I kind of drew on earlier. All right, and now just going to round over that eyeball. Kind of want to just take your time with this one. Do the other eye. And there we go. Round over the top a little bit. Give it a little shadow line. Sorry, I have no idea if that was in frame or not. I feel like I pulled it off to the side. Let me see if I could fix the angle a little better. All right, got his eyeballs kind of set in, and I think I want to give him another, I guess call it a pupil, maybe. So I'm just going to do the same thing we just did, using this little tiny gouge. Again, you could use a knife. Any of you guys working on anything cool? I gotta say, lately I haven't been feeling too inspired. I don't know what to work on. So I've mainly just been working on these hillbillies and gnomes, which is kind of my go-to when I have nothing else to do, because I do like doing them. But I do want to start working on some other projects. All right, we got his eyes. Little green-eyed monster there. All right, what else can we do? His hat is pretty much done. I really like this weathered textured look. Let me see, I'm gonna definitely add some details. Like giving these little rips in the hat. And I think in the front here I'm gonna make it pretty deep because I gave him a very long hat in the front, which certainly wasn't intentional. Just when I was bandsawing this out, I kind of took too much off, and I didn't mean to. but it happens. This is my favorite part of all the projects, is doing these tiny little detail work, I guess you call it. This is where like the carving really transforms from this raw block of a basic carving into a detailed and textured and layered look. Really gives it a lot of I don't know, emotion. Should have probably beveled this hat a little more. The other day I spent some time sharpening up my knives, this one specifically. I really love this little mini detail knife from FlexCut. I've had it many years at this point, but it's perfect for doing these little details. It's such a thin blade, really gets in there, um, really cuts through the wood nice and easy and clean. All right, it's got a little weathered hat right there. I need something over here. His arm is still a little blocky. Still some saw marks. Get rid of that. Same on his hand. If anyone has any questions, let me know. Drop it in the chat. Pretty quiet today. Nobody has any questions. Maybe drop a suggestion of what you'd want to see me carve in my next live or tutorial. All right, now I'm just going to draw on some beard details here. I like to draw these on first, just to give me an idea of what it might look like before I actually remove material. Also gives you some leeway so you don't have to commit to anything before you actually carve it. All right, I think that looks pretty cool. Clear some of the chips away. All right, you could do this a bunch of different ways. You can use a V-tool or a veiner. I like to use the tip of my knife here and make a V-cut. The reason I like using my knife for this is, one, I don't always have my veiner or V-tool with me, and two, you can get a really deep looking cut on these, and I find that I can control it a little bit better of how I want it to look. So what I do is I cut the line straight down on my pencil line, and then I come at it with both angles. Like that. So I made a line straight up and down, and then I come at one angle at like a 45-degree, pop out a little sliver, then I come at it from the other side, same angle, 45 degrees, pop out the other sliver, and it gives that really deep looking, sharp, crisp look to it. You do have to pay attention to your grain direction when doing this, because it's very easy to go against the grain and rip out a chunk. So like here I'm going with the grain, flip it around, go with the grain again, then I move on to the next one. Helps if you have a really super sharp knife to do this. You want to try and not to go back and forth with this cut. You want to do it as minimally as possible. The more you keep going back, you'll start digging in, you'll leave lines and little weird fuzzies, and you definitely don't want that, especially in a very prominent aspect of the carving. Like this is pretty much a third of his body, and it's right in front and center. So you want this to be as crisp and clean as possible. See, I started to go against the grain there. So now I'm just going to switch the direction and just take your time. No rush. Not a race. And I just attack one line at a time. Now keep in mind, the more of these like curves you add, the more you're going to start having to go against the grain. So you have to figure out the grain direction. Like here, I'm going to go this way halfway because that's going with the grain. And I'm going to stop right about here because that's where it starts going against the grain, and I'll switch directions, come back, and meet in the middle. And you absolutely don't need this tiny knife. You can use a big giant knife. Just got to be comfortable with the tools you're working with. So here's my 2-inch Helvey that I'm using. And I can absolutely do it with that. Here's my Badger State. Forget what this is called. Cliffhanger? Clipper? I can't ever remember. But you can absolutely do it with any knife you have. Going against the grain, come at it the other way. See? I'm going to switch back to my little mini knife because, like I said, it's thin and it cuts deep and clean. I just sharpened it a couple of days ago, and I'm glad I did because I forgot how much I really like using this knife. About halfway done with his beard. And honestly, I don't know how crazy I'm going to go with this carving. You also don't have to follow your pencil lines exactly. Sometimes it looks really cool, all curvy and drawn on with the pencil line, but it's a lot easier to draw a curved line than it is to carve one of these curved lines. So sometimes I'll end up softening the curve because of the grain direction, and you don't want it to look all chewed up and choppy. All right, we're getting there. Hope I'm not making you guys dizzy with all this swapping around. No comments in the chat, huh? Somebody say something. Say hi. Can you hear me? Maybe you can't hear me. Hope you can. I had a lot of connection issues, so I don't really know if it's working or not. See, there's people in here. Yeah. So, pretty hot day today. I was outside most of the day. Actually set up for a sidewalk sale, selling carvings and woodworking, cutting boards and stuff like that. So I'm definitely feeling the fatigue from the heat. This is what I was talking about. You only want to go in once or twice because then you end up with these weird slivers on the inside that are impossible to get out. There we go. All right, just a few more to go. One more here. Got a little chewed up right here, but that's okay. Looks like the last one is right here. I think that's pretty cool. Let's see. Do I want to do anything with his pants here? Nah. Let's give it some little notches. I don't love this section in there. Try and take some of that out. It's really going against the grain in there. I think that's better. I don't love it, but Definitely better than it was before. All right. I don't know what to do with his hands here. Looks like we finally got some comments in the chat. That's cool. Let's see. We got one that says, I hope one day people will care more about art in cyberspace than naked bodies. Very true, man. Very true. I hope so too. Unfortunately, we're kind of saturated with that every day. Got another comment that just said, hi. Hello. Hope all of you are having a great day. Got some more highs in the chat. Now I'm just doing some really crude looking fingers here because honestly, I can't be bothered to do anything else. So I'm just notching out his fingers. And to be honest, I don't like it. Kind of wish I just put his hands in his pockets. But what are you going to do? It's only wood. I can carve another. I need his thumbs. Forgot his thumbs. Ah, a lot of tear out there. Definitely don't like carving hands, and it shows because I, one, am not too good at it, which I guess is why I should carve hands. But I'm also just kind of rushing through this because it's part of the carving I don't like, and I just want to be done with it. Also, probably not going to let this run on too much longer. Getting hungry. There, what do you guys think? Some really terrible looking hands. Sorry, I keep pulling the carving off to camera. Definitely got to work on my setup a little better. So appreciate you guys for bearing with me while I'm figuring things out. I wonder if you guys can hear all the noise from my neighbors, the cars and the dogs and the talking. I know many of you guys live in areas where it's rural and calm, quiet, and you got nature and trees, but not me. Live in the concrete jungle over here. This is definitely a sketchy part of the carving. Should absolutely be wearing gloves. I guess I need some of those dockyard tools to get in there. They're on my list of tools to buy. Anyone want to mention what they're working on this week? Or what you want to work on? Brush his tooth there. All right, what do I want to do? Definitely going to finish up with this guy because I don't know. I'm done with them. I'm gonna give them some pant wrinkles. Specifically where his knees bend. One thing that's bugging me here is underneath. That's where I cut it on the bandsaw and it left a little chunk because my blade on the bandsaw is about 1/4 of an inch. So I can't make tight curves or cuts on it. I would love to upgrade my bandsaw at some point. I just can't justify doing it. Mine still works, even though it's 12 years old, and I hated it. I hate it. Hated it from day one, but it gets the job done. Just rounding off the bottom here, so when he stands on the ground, there's a little bit of a shadow line. And I want to try and get inside in between his legs here and remove the saw marks. And there we go. I think I'm going to add anything else. Let's spray him with water for you guys. You can get an idea of what he looks like. There we go. Textured hat. Cool looking beard. I gave him a big round pig nose. Something a little bit different from the usual. Here's his brother. Brother has this little bit of the sorting hat on him. And I like carving these guys. I have a couple more that I did. These guys are painted. Here's the butt gnome. He's the pervert of the family. We got this guy. So I like this style, and I like the size. It's a 2-inch by 2-inch by 6-inch block, I believe it is. 6 or 7. Yeah, 6. 2 by 2 by 6. Here's what they look like painted. Here's without any oil or water, and here's with water, which resembles the oil. They all have a similar style. I really like the long beards. The hats are fun to play with, different styles, angles. This guy has a belt, uh, different textures. You can see I kind of stick to the same sort of form. Show you the back. This guy's got his hands in his pockets. This guy's got his pants hanging down, hands behind his back, hands in his pocket. Let's see. Fun. Here's a better shot of them. I really like his tooth. Cracks me up. Sometimes adding one little element really makes these things stand out. This guy always gets a laugh. Him, I really like how his beard came out. Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. I appreciate you guys for sticking around and watching and seeing how I carve these gnomes. And if you guys want to see more lives, just let me know what you want to see. It's kind of hard thinking up ideas or, you know, carvings that people want to see me carve or be interested in. So let me know what you guys want. Check out tomorrow's episode of the podcast. Again, it's with Bill Wolford. Bill was really cool to speak to. A little bit different compared to most episodes, but yeah, I really enjoyed speaking with him, and check it out. Let me know what you guys think. We'll see you in the next